Welcome everyone to Caleb Watches Movies, the channel where I, Caleb, randomly select one of the many movies that I own and I watch and review them for you. But today, well, it's the last day of 2018, and everyone at this time of year throws out their top 10 movies of the year, which I have seen a lot of movies, but not a lot of current releases, going back and watching a lot of the ones that I own. But there is one genre that I have to watch every single incarnation of, and that is superhero/comic book films. Because I love them so much. And I did one of these ranking videos last year for 2017, all the superhero films that came out last year, so click on the link at the end of this video and check that one out. But yeah, let's get to the movies of 2018. Now, I define a superhero as someone with superhuman abilities, whether they get that through alien radiation or whether they create it themselves. They just have some kind of superhuman power. How they choose to use that power is up to them. That's what makes it so intriguing. And by my definition, we had 10 superhero films that came out this year, so let's get started with the bottom of the list. So this list is gonna start off with, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, it's a piece of shit, The Darkest Minds. Based on a young adult novel that is set in the futuristic dystopian era, but everyone seems to be doing okay. These kids, because they develop superhuman powers, are sent away to this camp. And I figured that, well, they're probably starving, but no, they seem to be well fed. They seem to be well treated, I guess. I mean, I didn't see any death that was happening. And in these camps, you are labeled by a color depending on what type of superhuman ability you've developed. Like, the blues are the intelligent ones, or maybe that's the green. The yellow is like electricity. But if you're orange, you're the most dangerous because you have mind control. This film sucked. This film is desperately clawing at the idea that, hey, we're the next young adult novel that's gonna take off. Hey, we're the next Hunger Games. We're the next Harry Potter. They even call themselves out in the middle of the film of them being Harry Potter. This place is pretty cool. It's kind of like Hogwarts. What does that make me? Harry?
Who would I be? Ron?
No, you'd probably be Hagrid. And no, that is not improvisation on my part. That is literal dialogue from this film. Oh, honey. Honey, 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 no. You are nowhere close to the Harry Potter franchise. J.K. Rowling has enough money to put out a hit on you and kill you, and then develop the technology of reincarnation, bring you back to life, and keep killing you, bringing you back to life, keep killing you, and bringing you back to life. Because you are a mere fly to J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potter franchise. You don't come close. Just the dialogue, the characterization, the character motivations. I have no idea. I had no idea what was going on. I just wanted to punch every single character in this film in the face. If I could magically reach into the screen and just clock them, I would have had a much better time doing that. I am so glad that I found this in the bargain bin during Black Friday. If I would have spent the full 20 or 22 bucks, whatever it was, for the physical copy, I would have ended this channel. I would have been so disgraced. Do not see this movie, never get close to it, put it out of your mind. Your darkest mind. Alright, it felt really good to vent about that. Which brings us to number 9. I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, but it's the Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, this one didn't do anything for me. Now, in terms of the acting, the special effects, everyone is good. Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly have great chemistry with each other. I love seeing them on screen. Scott Lang's daughter steals the show again. But after I've seen this movie, and I've gone back and watched it several times to figure out why do I not like this movie as much as other people did? And I've come to the conclusion that this film is just pointless. It's pointless in the overall MCU. Why did this exist? Really, the only reason this movie is here is to get us to that mid-credit scene. So we figure out where Ant-Man goes and what happens to everyone else leading up to Avengers Endgame. But there's some really weird choices, like with Hope Van Dyne, that whole aspect of her in the quantum realm coming back and having these magical powers, creating magical clothes for herself. I have a lot of questions. Plus, hearing the word quantum added on to every single thing, it got a little annoying. And when you think of the villain Ghost, who, by the way, has an awesome look. That is an awesome looking villain. But her main motivation in this film is, hey, I want to steal this technology so that I can harness the power to save myself because I'm in pain. And they spend the whole movie just kind of playing hot potato with this huge, ginormous lab. But by the end, we get to the conclusion, and this is where I was kind of thinking that this should have gone too. It's like, okay, well, why don't you talk to Scott Lang and to Hank Pym and to all these people and say, hey, I'm in pain. Can you help me? Can we work together? And I would think that they would all say yes, because they ended up helping her anyway. Again, it was just confusing. At the end of the day, this film is pointless in the overall MCU, and it's just gone down on the ranking every single time I think about it. All right, now we get to a fun one, and I can't wait for the comments on this. Venom! This movie, in all regards, is terrible. But I have no choice in recognizing how I felt leaving the theater after seeing it. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. Did I have laughs towards the film? Absolutely. There is cheesy dialogue. Sometimes there are terrible visual effects. The character motivations, again, are just cheesy and campy as hell. If this movie would have come out like in the late 80s, early 90s as a superhero film, it probably would have been hailed as being fantastic. But with everything that we've got since then, and then putting this out, it comes across as childish. But I'll say the main reason why I love this film is Tom Hardy. I really liked his performance as Eddie Brock. And what he does with his voice for Venom, I was sucked in. I wanted to see what was gonna happen next. And I feel like a terrible movie reviewer because I feel that everyone who is credible just shit all over this film. So if I'm trying to fit in with other movie reviewers, I was like, yeah, sure, I was probably gonna hate this movie. I heard nothing but terrible things leading up to it, but I think what happened was that my bar was lowered so much that just going in and getting something that's serviceable made it seem like, wow, this was actually really good. It's not really good, but it is a good time. Terrible villain, though. Absolutely awful villain who hates humans, but is one themselves and wants to help these symbiotes take over the world and then joins with them just at random. I will say, while watching this, I kept thinking, oh, this would have been a perfect marketing campaign if they would have attached this film to that movie from last year called Life. Because the main antagonist organization in this film is called Life. And the Life movie from last year was produced by the same company it was produced by Sony. About the same type of character, about the same symbiotic, weird spider-like alien creature. And it comes crashing down to Earth. These two could have combined to each other. It would have been awesome. What a big surprise, too. They just dropped the ball on it, of course. Way to go, Sony. But if you value my opinion, truthfully, I had a really good time with this movie. Dumb, popcorn, shoving into your mouth fun, but it was still fun. And coming in at number 7, Deadpool. Dude, the follow-up to probably what I would say is the best superhero movie of 2016, Deadpool. This film had a high bar to touch. Did it get all the way up there? No, I don't think so. In all honesty, I remember not having a really good time with this film in theaters. I was annoyed, I was antsy, I was bored the majority of the time. I was wanting this film to be done, mainly in part to the actor who plays this terrible villain. This Australian kid, I'm not even gonna look up his name because I don't even want to bother. He was just god-awful. Annoying as fuck. And Ryan Reynolds is trying to do his best to make those scenes at least enjoyable for me, but it doesn't drown out the terrible overacting that this actor does. I'm angry! I'm going to breathe very deeply and push my lips like an asshole. Kind of winded after that one. However, I did watch the unrated or the supercut edition when it came out on Blu-ray, and that was a much better version than the one that I saw in theaters, which bumped this one up for me a couple of spaces. Ryan Reynolds, though, is still hilarious as Deadpool, and I want to continue seeing more of him. Hopefully when it goes over to Disney in next year or a couple of years, I just want to see vlogging videos of Ryan Reynolds dressed up as Deadpool, just walking through Disneyland, taking pictures and just fucking around with people. Oh my god, that would be amazing. And that brings us to number 6, Teen Titans Go to the Movies. What a delightful little animated film this was. Now, I had never seen the television show, so I really don't know the backstories of these versions of these characters. I do love me some Teen Titans, though. I have read me many issues of the new Teen Titans from the 80s. And coming into this movie, I was thinking this film is going to be way more geared towards the younger audience than adults. And yes, this is very kid-friendly, but there is some great really adult comic book fan humor in here. There are callbacks to films like Back to the Future, the original Superman film. They even poke fun of, and I love them for it, the Batman origin story, which a lot of people complain because it's in almost every Batman film and they're sick and tired of seeing it. I'm not, though, because that origin plays a huge part into the psyche of Batman. So keep giving me the gun, keep giving me the pearls. I personally love seeing it. But in this movie, when young Bruce Wayne says, "Hey Dad, can we go down this weird, creepy downtown alley?" Sure, son. Just fantastic. Great. We have a great vocal performance here from David Arquette, too. I loved him as Deathstroke. Or as they say in the movie, Slade. We even get a lovely cameo as a dream come true. Nicolas Cage is the voice of Superman. A role that he came this close to playing and a role that he's always wanted to play his entire life. I believe he even named his son Cal because he loves Superman so much. I laugh at the thought of that, but then if I had kids, I'd probably do something nerdy like that too. But this is a really fun movie, and I do recommend checking it out if you haven't already. The message behind the film, it's your stereotypical kids message of how family is important. But there are many jokes in here for kids and for adults, especially adults who are really big into superheroes and to comic books. And starting off our top 5 at number 5, Aquaman, the only DCEU film released this year. But this film has just by far the best visual effects of the year. I believe that these characters were underwater, and the vibrant colors, the creatures, the ship, the city, everything looked gorgeous and beautiful. All I will say is keep giving me more Aquaman. Give me Aquaman 2, 3. I want to see this world more. And I've really been into the Rebirth series of Aquaman, so seeing him on screen, this was an absolute delight. Jason Momoa, I think he silenced all of his haters. He is a fantastic Aquaman. A lot of people were complaining because he doesn't look like Aquaman. He's more of a surfer, bruh, which he is. But I love that his heritage, his Samoan heritage, I believe is what he is, just how that plays just wonderfully into this world of Aquaman. Because the Samoan heritage is really based out in the Pacific and really based out on the water. You do get your stereo white boy, blonde hairish look, though, in an Aquaman. Just over in Ocean Master, who I really like, Patrick Wilson. I loved him as Orm. Amber Heard did a wonderful job, I think, as Mera, and this film killed it in the box office. And I think it's a really good step forward for the DCEU. Not all of those films have done well financially, and definitely have not done well critically, but this film does get a thumbs up from me, and it's getting majority positive reviews. The story of this film, though, is very straightforward, it's very simple, it's very cookie-cutter-esque. You really have an idea of where this film is gonna go and how it's gonna end up, which is not necessarily a bad thing for me, at least. Take the film Coco, for example. I figured out what was gonna happen midway through the film, and I started bawling my eyes out. And nothing on screen was happening that would welcome that, so my wife looks over at me like, "Why are you crying?" Because I know it's gonna happen. And it's so beautiful. So just because I know where something is gonna go doesn't mean that the end goal is not gonna be beautiful and satisfying. So I knew where Aquaman was going to end up, and it was definitely satisfying. Getting towards the top here at number 4, and God, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but I gotta be honest, Black Panther. This is a tremendous movie, don't get me wrong. And a lot of other people too. It's one of the highest grossing films of the year, one of the highest grossing MCU films out there. This film has been nominated for several awards, several Golden Globes in Best Drama, which when it comes to comic book and superhero films, never happened. So I am proud and extremely happy that it's getting the recognition that it deserves. The direction is magnificent. Ryan Coogler is one of the best upcoming mainstream filmmakers that we have. Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther, he's doing wonderful work. And Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, he is, if not the best villain in the MCU, he is at least second best. Because I love this guy's motivation. This city, these people of Wakanda, held themselves at bay, kept themselves in secret, while other Africans throughout the world, throughout time, suffered. People were taken from Africa and sold into slavery, and Wakanda stayed over here and did nothing. And that is Killmonger's main motivation. He wants to arm all Africans all throughout the world who are in poverty or don't have all the top privileges that other people and other cultures have. He wants to provide them weapons. He wants to give them guns so that they can take up arms against those people in power because they had been shackled for long enough. And I love that storyline. It's very Shakespearean. This whole film is actually very Shakespearean. You get a lot of King Lear, Hamlet, Macbeth, a lot of those influences in here. But at the end of the day, and why it's not ranking higher up on my list, is because the title character Black Panther really felt like the backseat driver. His name is on the poster. His head is the biggest head on the poster. But I felt that every other character in this film just outshined him. And it's absolutely nothing against Chadwick Boseman. I love him as T'Challa. But just his overall character arc, it's really, at least I felt, it was almost non-existent. This is not his story. This is Killmonger's story. Hell, we even open up the film with Killmonger and something tragic that happens in his life that motivates him into pursuing this interest. It's just, this film was hyped up for me just a ton, and when I watched it, I was definitely entertained. I was definitely having a good time, but when I came out of it, I was like, this doesn't live up to the high bar that everyone was setting this up to. Still a fantastic movie. Don't get me wrong. It's number 4 here. Please be nice in the comments. Coming in at number 3 is a sequel that we have been waiting 14 years for. From a studio that has given us multiple sequels, on a franchise that nobody wants multiple sequels for. Some sequels that are absolutely brilliant. But we were all clamoring for this one, and when I came out of the theater, I had the biggest smile on my face. The Incredibles 2. What a delightful little picture. And in this film, really, the tides have turned. It's not Mr. Incredible going off and doing Mr. Incredible things. No, it's Mrs. Incredible. She is the big star. She is the breadwinner now. Mr. Incredible is there at home, helping his son learning new math, and he doesn't even know, why would you change math? You can't change math! I wholeheartedly agree, sir. But really, why this movie ranks so high? It's 2 words. It's Jack Jack. I mean, really, it's 5 words. It's Jack Jack versus the raccoon. That scene is probably my favorite scene this entire year. I can watch that again, and again, and I would still be entertained, and I would still outwardly laugh. And then you sprinkle on top of that scene Jack Jack being handed over to Edna, and then the mannerisms that Jack Jack mimics from her. Oh my god. I will watch this movie again and again and again, and it will never get old. I feel that we just got a lot more from every single character, in particular the kids. Ash, Violet, they all had great motivations and all great arcs here. We even get a lot more from Frozone here, and he was barely in the first one. This is an absolute must-see. It picks off right where the first Incredibles ends, and I was all in, and I am all in for Incredibles 3, 4, 5. Keep giving them to me. Coming in at number 2, a film that I saw just a couple of weeks ago, and my jaw, I had to pick it up off the ground. I was in awe of everything that I was seeing. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This film is the definition of beautiful for me. The animation style, or the multiple animation styles that they were using in this film, it brings tear to your eyes just seeing that on screen. The details, the textures, it looks like you are watching an animated comic book. You see all the lines and all the small little dots that you would see when you were reading an actual comic book. What an incredible choice, and it made this film just absolutely gorgeous to watch. And then on top of that, this film managed to get me to like this character that I absolutely hate, Miles Morales. I read the first couple of issues from Ultimate Spider-Man from the 616 universe. And in that comic book, spoilers if you haven't read it, so sorry, Peter Parker dies, and everyone finds out that he was Spider-Man. And Miles Morales, he gets into this boarding school, and he really doesn't want to be there, and he's not grateful for getting in at all, and it was just driving me crazy. He gets bit by a spider, he starts developing spider-human abilities, he sees that Spider-Man has died, finds out it's Peter Parker, he goes to a costume shop, buys the costume, and starts swinging and going around and saving people in that Spider-Man outfit. And everyone in the panels, and myself included, went, dude, way too soon. Not cool at all, dude. Do your own thing, but leave that version out of it. Even members of S.H.I.E.L.D. come in, they pick him up and they go, dude, what are you doing? Bad taste. And ever since reading that first volume, I've absolutely hated Miles Morales. To me, he was nothing than a cool looking costume. But seeing the minor tweaks that they did to his origin in this film, give me more Miles Morales. But more in this animated world, because my god, this is absolutely breathtaking. And we have all these different types of Spider-Man. We have the original Peter Parker, and they play off of him being around for 10 years and having multiple versions. The version where he was a weird emo kid, the version where he did this weird emo dance, but we don't talk about that. And then we get Gwen Stacy coming in here as Spider-Woman, Noir Spider-Man voiced by Nicolas Cage, and we get Spider-Ham, Spider-Man from the 1980s voiced by John Mulaney, one of, if not my favorite comedian of all time. It's an animated film, so initially you feel that this is geared more towards kids, and I think it's definitely kid-friendly, but this is a film for all ages. And I know, because when I went to the movie theater, I was one of 5 kind of middle-aged men hanging out watching the movie. I tried to sit as far away from them as possible. Live action, animated, doesn't matter. This is a great film. Please go see it. We've made it! #1, the best superhero movie of 2018. And really? Is it a surprise? I don't think so. It's Avengers Infinity War. The film that kicked the legs out from under us, that took its fist and just kept hitting us over and over again in the balls. At least that's how I felt walking out of the theater after seeing it. There is a reason why there was so much hype surrounding the first trailer for Avengers Endgame. Because all of us have grown up with all of these characters over the past 10 years, and what happens to them in this film left us feeling really, really dark, really empty, really sad, and we want to know what's happening to them. This is a film, and it's very rare for this to happen, but it's a film that I will just occasionally think of, I really want to watch Infinity War. Let me just start it. Maybe I'll just turn it off. Or maybe I'll just start working on something and this will be playing in the background. And I watched the opening scene with Thor, Loki, and Thanos, and I'm sucked in, and I can't stop. I've watched this movie so many times this year. What the Russo brothers were able to do is mind-boggling, and it's really impressive. They balanced all of these characters, gave them, I think, a fair amount of screen time per character. And I did do a review on this film earlier this year and gave it 5 out of 5 Blu-rays. So yeah, how could I not put it as #1, my favorite comic book superhero movie of 2018? I love the storyline of Thor, Groot, and Rocket. I love following that trio through the galaxy. I want that trio more. I will never stop getting chills from when Stormbreaker is created and he comes down to Earth and starts kicking ass. But it's not just him taking Stormbreaker and the Bifrost going away. It's Rocket and Groot standing at his side and him saying, "Bring me Thanos," and just those 3 characters charging towards the army. It's the biggest fist pump moment of the year, and I really can't think of a bigger fist pump moment just ever. Just chills constantly. To get myself pumped up, I would just listen to that part in the score. Robert Downey Jr. I thought was great. The actors playing the Guardians of the Galaxy I love. Dave Bautista, he's probably the best thing in the MCU. I'm only gonna ask this once. Where's Gamora? Oh yeah? I'll do you one better. Who's Gamora? I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora? And Spider-Man Tom Holland, he is absolutely adorable. And he breaks your fucking heart. I don't want to go. I don't want to go again. It didn't give me tears at first because I was just confused as to what was going on. But every time I watch it since, I do get a little teary-eyed. But what I love about this film the most is that this isn't our hero's story. This is the story of Thanos. Thanos is our protagonist. He is the one that all of these elements are trying to change or prevent from changing. He won. This is his story. And what a gutsy decision it was to do that. At some point in the next couple of months, I'm probably gonna do an MCU film ranking. And just a slight little spoiler, this is going to be, if not on the top, very close. Because it really is a spectacle and such an achievement in just creating and balancing this universe and all of these characters. All right, that is 2018. 2018 is over. Bring on 2019, because we got a lot of superhero films coming out next year. We got some really big films in Captain Marvel, Shazam, and then this little film called Avengers Endgame. But we're also getting some much smaller films, and I'm really intrigued to see where they go. We have Glass by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. We have Joaquin Phoenix gonna be the Joker next year. That's gonna be interesting. We'll have Dark Phoenix again, and we're supposed to get the New Mutants, but we were supposed to get that like 3 different times this past year, so who knows? I'm not expecting it to actually happen. But guys, that is my ranking of the best superhero films of 2018. What did you think of my list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Where would you put films if you disagreed? Please comment below, let me know what you thought. And when you're done commenting, please like, subscribe to this channel. If you really like my viewpoints or if you liked what I did here, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, really help me out. And I am taking fan recommendations of movie reviews on my channel, so if you have any recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, please comment below this video or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter. Leave your recommendation there, and if I have access to the film, I'll watch it, review it, and give you a shout out here on my channel. So thank you everyone for a fantastic year. This was a great year for Caleb Watches Movies, and I really look forward to 2019. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.